Hey everybody, it's Alec with Revival Cycles, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install bar and turn signals onto your bike. I'm going to be using the Motogadget mo.Blaze discs for this demonstration. I'll show you about wiring them, how to route them through your bars, what you can and can't do, fast flashing, things like that. So let's get started. So these bar and turn signals are LED. So what that means is for some applications you may need to use things like resistors, and Motogadget actually makes a module called the mo.Flash that you can use to help with the fast flashing to kind of bring it down. Certain new motorcycles you can actually program to work with new LED turn signals. This bike I'm working on, or I'm working with, has a Motogadget unit on it. So that kind of takes care of all that problem. So let me show you how it works. I'm going to kind of reverse this one since it's already made, just to kind of give you an idea of what it's like when it's installed. So one of the things you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make a serviceable connector for it before you stick it into the bars while you're wiring it, because otherwise you're going to run the wire all the way throughout the bar, and then if something happens, like you lay the bike down or they break or something like that, you're going to have to pull the entire wiring harness out just to get it off. So what we usually do is we make, like I said, a serviceable connector for it. That way it's kind of a plug and play thing at this point. You can pull it off and replace it if necessary, or you can pull it off to slide your mirrors off, slide your grips off, switches, controls, all that stuff. All right, so as I said, we're going to be using the Motogadget mo.Blaze disc turn signals. I'm just going to show you what these actually come with. So in the box, you're going to get the turn signal, and they are directional. L for left, R for right, funny enough. And they also come with these rubber bushings. So depending on what bars you have, depending on what the inner diameter of your bars, you're going to have to measure that or see which ones fit in them. I'm just going to leave what's on here right now just so I can show you how to make the connector for this wiring. All right, so we've got red and black, positive, negative. There's no mystery behind it. It's universal. It is what it is. We also use these Mizu connectors. We sell these on our website. We also sell these crimping tools and all this stuff. So if you want to know what kind of tools you need or connectors and stuff like that, you can just go to revivalcycles.com. You can find all these things on there. So one of the things that I like to do when I'm doing these is, so like I said, you're going to have a right and a left, you know? So for example, on this one, I'm going to put on the bar inside, on the turn signal side, I'm going to put the female connector on it, right? And then on the harness side, I'm going to put the male connector. But on the other side of the bar, I'm going to do it opposite. That way you know that you can never get them backwards, right? If you take them apart, you'll know that they only go on one way. So, male-female connectors, male-female terminals. Let's get these little bags out of the way. And now we cut. Now, I would suggest that you don't cut too close to the actual turn signal. You give yourself a little bit of room just in case something happens and you have to do it again. You're not, working with a little amount of wire. You're working with as much as you can. And you definitely don't need to make it super long, otherwise you'll just have all this big bunch of wires there at the inside the bar. So, let's take our tool, cut it about here. Now, another thing that we suggest is using Loom and heat shrink. It helps with strain relief on the wires since they're so tiny, and it also keeps moisture and water out. So you're going to want to put this on before you do the terminals and the connector, otherwise you won't be able to get it on. So we'll start with the Loom, or a little heat shrink on it. Now there is a difference. Loom is nylon, it's hard. Heat shrink is made to shrink with heat and, keep it watertight. Now you don't want to cut the insulation off these too much, otherwise you won't be able to get the insulation actually crimped into into those second teeth, and you can risk breaking the wires. Another thing about these Mizu connectors, they're pretty tiny, so you don't actually use solder for them, otherwise you'll just end up burning them all up. So these are made specifically so you don't have to use solder. All right, crimping's done. Now it's time to install them into the connector. It's very satisfying when you get them in the right way. They'll make a nice little clicking sound. Hopefully you heard that. 2 clicks, they're in. Now, the back end of these connectors, this little seal back here is always, it comes kind of out of its home. You just want to make sure you push that all the way in. Now you're 100% good to go. So now that we have the connector, the terminals, the loom, and the heat shrink on, what I'll do is I'll add heat to this to shrink around these wires to keep it, like I said, water resistant. There we go. Nice and pretty. Now it's time to install it onto the bike. All right, so now that we have our connector done, and done correctly, and we've chosen the right, rubber bushing and the right nut and everything, we can install it into the bars. Click. So what I usually do is I'll kind of twist it the opposite way that you're going to install it, just to kind of, so you're not twisting it in on itself and damaging any of the wires. Start slowly sliding it in. Make sure that you get it almost kind of snug to go in before you slide it in, otherwise it won't really catch on the ID of the bars. All the way in, and then to get it tight, all you do is twist it clockwise, and you'll feel it start to get pretty tough to turn. Now remember, these are directional, so you can't just kind of have them up or down, or I mean you can, you'll still be able to see it, but the double, I guess what you want to call double LEDs in the front, singles in the back. Typically there's a Motogadget logo on here, so you want that facing up, but just know that they are directional, like I said. That is the front, that is the back. So as far as wire exiting goes, or wiring exiting, there are a few different options you can do. This bike in particular has essentially, I mean, they're kind of like, they're full bars, but they kind of are like clip-ons almost in a sense, where this bar has actually got an open end on it. So this was kind of easy because we can just route the wiring straight out the end of it, put some loom on it, and tie it into the rest of the wiring that's coming out of the bike, and it works perfectly. But some other bars, like normal bars, what you're actually gonna have to do is drill a hole in it to exit the wiring, and then you'll put some loom on it and some heat shrink so it doesn't have any chafing or anything like that. Another thing we use that I'll show you is we use grommets whenever you're drilling in the bars and having wiring come out of it. It's good to put a grommet in there, just like I said, so you don't get any chafing or any wire damage. Yeah, so essentially that's how you do it. It takes a little bit of time, but it's not really that big of a deal. It's another nice little upgrade that you can do to your bike to kind of get rid of all the bulkiness and have something that looks cool. Another benefit of having these is they stick out at the end of the bars, so sometimes you don't even have to run rear turn signals either. You can just have these and everybody can see them from all sides. It's kind of nice. Yeah, that's it. Not that hard, but it takes some thinking, especially when you're doing wire routing and everything. Get creative with it. Don't break your wires, go slow, it'll all work fine. Yeah guys, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. If you have any other things you want to see, just let us know. Thanks.
Now's the time of video where most people ask for money or donations or whatever. I'm not gonna ask you for that. What I'm gonna say to you is, if you wanna see more videos and you wanna learn more of what we've learned, and you wanna see a deep dive into a lot of these topics, go to our website and buy something. We sell everything from motorcycle gear, helmets, motorcycle parts, specialized tools. We sell lots of things, and they've all taken us years to figure out what the best stuff is, and we figured it out. So go to revivalcycles.com. There's some really good stuff there. Everything from like kick-ass hand grips from Posh, to Radiance LED lighting, and everything in between. We want to teach you what we know, but this stuff takes time and it takes real effort to make these videos and make them good for you guys. So go support us by helping yourself to the cool stuff you already need. And it helps us because we make a little bit of profit and then we can justify doing more videos. Thanks for your support.